You're listening to the Superpower Up podcast with your superpower experts. This is the place where we explore real-life superpowers and give you the tools to unlock your own.
Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Dawn Recla, your superpower expert, and I have the biggest grin on my face. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today. It has been such a long time in coming, this conversation between us. I don't know if I've ever worked so hard to get a guest on our show. And he's worth it. I'm very excited to share with you just the amazing information that he brings into this really high level embodiment, integrative. We talk a lot about embodying the abstract frequency, connecting into source and divine, becoming that in the world. And that is where he is sitting. And so it is always delightful for me to be able to share guests like him with you. Clayton John Ainger is an award-winning best-selling author of The Ego's Code, which, by the way, is probably one of the best titles I've ever heard. He's an international psychic medium, spiritual teacher, entrepreneur, all over the world, US, Australia, UK magazines. I mean, I could go on and on and on. This guy looks really, really good on paper. But most importantly, he, like I said, embodies that essence, and you're going to hear it if I stop long enough to welcome him to the show. So please join me in welcoming Clayton to the show. Welcome, Clayton.
Thank you for having me, Tonya. I really, really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be on your show. It has been a while, so I'm really, really grateful to be here. And, it's all divine.
I was going to say divine timing. Perfect. Well, we're going to talk today about... Beautiful. We're going to talk today about the evolution of psychic awakening. This is a conversation that's very near and dear to my heart as we move into what I feel is kind of this next era of superpowers. And so I'm really, really keen to dive into this with you. But before we do, we like to kind of put people on the spot and say, what are your superpowers?
What are my superpowers? Okay, that's really cool. So my superpower is I'm telepathic. So I often hear the thoughts and experience the feelings of others. And I'm often find myself in conversations where I'm talking to people and they say, I was just thinking that. How do you know that? I said, because I'm telepathic. And then I'll just get to play with it, have some fun with it. And it's really, really, really cool to be able to do that kind of thing.
I love that you called that out. We have... here at Superpower Experts, we have what we call predisposed superpowers. So we have Cat 1 and Cat 2 superpowers, and mind reading is definitely one of our Cat 1 superpowers in the sense that so many people are capable of it. Predisposed to it, everybody's capable, but so many people are predisposed to it, but they have no idea that it's even possible to think someone else's thoughts. So I love that you kind of own that and call it out, and that it's not like this, don't, I'm a telepath, like that defines the essence of who you are. So I so appreciate how you delivered that information. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, we've all got it. My daughter regularly calls me out on stuff, and or she'll come to me if I'm not listening to my guides, for example, and say, okay, I've got a message for you. You're not paying attention. So, and she will tap in and tune into my telepathy, and and we play with it, and I have girlfriends come up to me and say, this is not for me, this is for you. I say, okay, I'm listening now. So it's everybody's got that gift. We're all divine beings.
I love it. That's our world too. How old's your daughter?
My daughter is 14, nearly 15. So it's
beautiful.
I was stood with her yesterday. I thought, oh my God, you're now nearly taller than me. And I'm 6'1", and she's at least 5'10", 5'11". And I'm thinking, what's going on here?
How fun. Well, beautiful. Yeah, our 8-year-old is one of our hosts she hosts the show Superpower Kids. So that's common occurrences in our house. And we often, we'll check and be like, were you just thinking about this? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know? And I'm like, this is how this works. So it's fun. I love that you play with that. So talk to me a little bit about Ego's Code. Where, again, brilliant title. Where did the idea for that come from?
Okay, that's a really, really great question. If I look back over my life, and in my 20s, I experienced, deep depression. In my 30s, I experienced deep depression. And in my 40s, early 40s, I realized I was sabotaging every area of my life. And I thought, what on earth is going on? And I woke up one morning and my guides were poking me, saying, you need to go to Stonehenge. I said, what? I said, no, I'm tired. No, leave me alone. And they said, no, you need to get up and go to Stonehenge. So I got up and, went into the resistance of that and drove for about an hour and a half and got to Stonehenge. And Stonehenge 10, 12 years ago is not like it is today. You could actually get access to the stones. And I went and sat with the stones and I had my umbrella and it was throwing it down with rain. And I literally sat in a very short meditation and this portal opened up in front of me. I got sucked through this portal. And as I got sucked through the portal, I found myself in front of Druid masters and ancient ones. And they literally said to me 3 words, the ego teacher. And then I found myself back into the here and the now. I thought, what's that all about? And then over the next few days, weeks and months, I would either be working out, I'd be meditating, I would be working in my corporate job at the time, and I would be getting downloads and I would be getting images and I would just make notes of them all. And then I started to get information that negativity is not negative. From a spiritual perspective, it's energy that's available for transformation. And so the journey then started to unfold. And as I then sort of started to look at my own life, I realized that I had created a lot of what was going on in my life, and there were traumas in my soul. And so all this stuff started to come through and started to build a picture. So a lot of people have a misunderstanding about the ego. The ego gets a bit of a bad rap. It's the devil within, or, it's the voices in the head and all that kind of thing. But actually, what really happens is that everybody is on a soul's journey. And as we embark upon this soul's journey, there are things that we need to learn and experience. So for myself, one of the biggest things I needed to learn was about receiving love. And as I embarked on this journey of receiving love, what I realized that were tears in my soul. And as I experienced these traumas, these tears in my soul, part of my soul would leave and go into a place in consciousness where it would feel safe. And then into the hole or the void within the soul went all the negativity associated with the traumas around love, as an example. And then at the point of incarnation, when I was born, my higher self separated into 2. And keeping the numbers clean, 99% of me remained the divine higher self, the divinity that's around me, or that flows through me, that connects with me on a daily basis and communicates through the heart. And the other 1% formed the ego. So the ego and the higher self are one and the same. And the ego acts like a beacon and sends out signals into the universe or the quantum field or the divine spiritual system, and attracting situations and circumstances and people to us so that we can learn. So wherever we have negativity, hardship, pain, challenges in our life, there is a pattern to it. And that pattern is what I've called the ego's code. And my book is all about helping people to decipher that code so they can actually live with more happiness and more joy, and actually use negativity as a fuel for success as opposed to something that keeps them stuck in the past. So that's a bit of a whirlwind journey of where it came from and the meaning of the book.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love everything that you were just talking about. What a powerful experience and what courage to step into it. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. But before we do, where can our listeners go to find out more about you?
People can follow me on Twitter at Clayton J. Ainger, or they can go to my website, ClaytonJohnAinger.com. They can join our community, and there's free meditations and newsletters, and there's lots of new things that are coming out over the next few months. So my website or on Twitter are the best 2 places to follow me right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So when we come back, we're going to dive deeply into this concept of the evolution of psychic awakening and unpack, really what does that look like. So stay with us. You're not going to want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Are you here to change the world? Do you talk about things like vibration, frequency, awakening, and consciousness? Are you pretty sure you have superpowers? The Superpower Net is unlike normal coaching programs and conscious communities. We provide training, intuitive guidance, peer-to-peer learning, intensive one-on-one coaching, and a high vibrational network of people just like you. When you join the net, you get 24/7 access to a collaborative group of people who support you as you master your personal power and unlock your superpowers. If you're ready to use your superpowers to change the world, then join the Superpower Net today. Visit superpowerexperts.com/the-net to learn more.
Awesome. We're back. We're talking today with Clayton John Ainger about the evolution of psychic awakening. And what I like about this topic is, we talked a little bit before the show about this kind of how things tend to evolve. And so sometimes it's like the gifts awaken and we start to see things. And then you kind of, and the idea that you could possibly be telepathic or empathic or have these kind of superpowers or be psychic is kind of this out there concept for a lot of us. And then we settle into that space. And, I often say we don't realize that we just build another construct around that we eventually have to kind of break out of again and go into the space where I call, the embodying the abstract frequency. I think you mentioned it as, really tapping into the divine. There's a lot of ways to describe it, flow state, but it is the idea that, the gifts kind of are the teaser, if you will, like maybe the dangle, like, ooh, we could do these things. And then it's like, it's not about the doing of the things. It's about those are tools in this truly embodied and integrated experience. What is it? I mean, you're a very public figure in terms of being, psychic medium and doing those things. What happened for you as you started to shift in this kind of higher awareness of your work?
I think a lot of it is, for me, was around acceptance. It's about acceptance. When I wrote my book, and I actually put on the back of my book, Psychic Medium, I was spending a lot of time within the corporate world. I'm still a corporate consultant, helping businesses to live in and lead with congruity, which is about living through the beingness within an organization. But to live through the beingness of the divine within an organization, you need to take the leaders and the individuals there who work in that organization. And so for me, it was a lot about taking the risk and putting that label or that identity, for want of a better description, out in the world. But we are more than identity. The extension of my work now, in terms of the extension from the Ego's Code and the new teachings that I'm doing, is looking at the journey between learning and remembering. So learning presupposes that there is something missing. But if you then take a bridge which takes you into remembering, from a divine perspective, we're already whole. But we have been conditioned by society and generations that negativity is bad and wrong, or that the divine belongs to certain people and divine spirits and leaders out in the world. But actually, we're all divine. And quantum physics has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are all energy. And so if we stand in front of the mirror and we look in the mirror and we look beyond our skin and we look beyond our muscles and we look beyond our organs and we look beyond our molecules and all the essence of what makes us a physical being, what's left is energy. And we are, one of the biggest challenges that people do is they ignore it. They think that what they actually see back in the mirror is something that's hard and has texture. Whilst it does have hard texture, that actually only represents less than 1% of who we are from a divine being. And we miss out on many opportunities for us to be able to create the lives that we want to create. And quantum physics has proven that we actually spend 7.8 times per second within wholeness or within the divine. So we are ultimately always in creation. But part of the challenge of that is we don't build a relationship with the divine that's within. And I was listening to a friend of mine, Dr. Joe Dispenza. I was on a retreat with him last week talking about this. And I just want to account for this because this was his story. And he was talking about when we begin a relationship. So when we embark on a relationship with somebody new, we will make time for them. We will wine them. We will dine them. We will buy gifts for them. We will immerse ourselves in the energy of who they are. And yet when we embark upon a journey with our divine selves, we don't do that. We get up in the morning and we whinge and we moan because something is not in our life, and we live our life through lack. And we miss out on opportunities to connect with the divine that's within. And so if we embarked on a new relationship, it just started to nag the other person, and that relationship is not going to deliver the fruits and the joy and the wonderment of who you are as an individual and a divine being. So my journey in terms of working with the divine and the spiritual side of me started one from an intellectual place, and wanting to understand theoretically who I am, what I was about, even though I would have mystical experiences. And my earliest mystical experience, I remember at the age of 7, there was a little Norman boy would sit outside my bedroom watching over me. And every now and again, he will still come and sit. And whenever I got challenges going through my life, or I'm going through some growth, he will be there and he'll watch over me and he'll keep me safe. And so I moved from an intellectual place of wanting to understand it more into a feeling place, and then actually an embodying place. And where I am now in my life is truly embodying the divine that's within me. And, every day, there's definitely a human element of me. I get caught up in my programs, but I don't allow my programs that are within me to get in my way. I sit and I work through the methodologies that I've put within the ego's code so that I can be more and more and more present and have more and more awareness within my life. Because when we experience a program, or when we experience negativity in our life, what's happening is we are literally being triggered back to the past. And when we get triggered back to the past, we're reliving the past in the here and the now. So we're not actually present. And when we're not present, the physical body, physical element of us goes into high stress. So when we go into high stress, we go into high beta brainwaves. We can't think clearly. We can't breathe properly. And we actually then can't create the lives we want to create, let alone connect with the divine selves within us. So, one of the biggest steps for me in my own journey was awareness, and really observing what is going on within the field of energy around me, rather than getting caught up with what is physically in front of me. But when I am with people and when I am with myself, I am now completely present. And I often talk to my girlfriend and I say, we need to be more present with each other. And then we just put everything down, devices down. We switch off TVs. We'll go out into nature, or we'll go for a walk, or we'll just sit and we'll be together and we'll be completely present and immerse ourselves in the energy of who we are as divine beings. And magic happens. And
beautiful.
And I remember saying, I was in Copenhagen very, very recently with 4 very, very close male friends. And we were just catching up. We hadn't seen each other for a couple of months. And they said, how are you? And I said, you know what? I said, for the very first time in my life, and I've just turned 47, I genuinely feel happiness. I genuinely feel happy. And there's so much chaos going on in my life right now. And I just said, I feel happy. I said, before I would intellectualize it. And that's like the journey with the divine. We go on this journey of intellectualizing, seeking to understand, letting go, surrendering, integrating, embodying, and then becoming. And it's a beautiful process to go through. And we just need to surrender to that. And I have not a particularly pleasant story, but I think it's quite a funny story, if you'll indulge me. When I was in Copenhagen, a very, very good friend of mine called David, we were talking about meditation, and when you meditate and you connect with the divine, you should feel different before and after you do meditation. And we were just talking about evolution and adapting and pushing our meditation so that we can go further and go deeper with the divine. And I said, you need to let go. And he said, what do you mean? I said, you just need to let go. I said, you're trying to control the outcomes. I said, the divine within you and around you and that flows through you knows you better than you know yourself. So get out of the damn way. And we had this conversation, and then the four of us went to a theme park. And we were on a roller coaster, and he was in front of me with another friend. And the roller coaster went round 3 times. And on each occasion it went round, he was sick. And he's never sick on a roller coaster. And, and he was sick, and he came off. And I said, there you go, there's the letting go. And he just looked at me, and I said, now comes the surrender and the integration. And for the next hour or so, he was surrendering and integrating. And I said, and later on, in a couple of hours' time, you'll be embodying the divine within you, because you want to go on that big, scary roller coaster that's there, and you're just going to enjoy it and be in space of loving that. And he did exactly that. He just said that was just the most amazing and crazy journey through the day of letting go, surrendering, embodying, and then embracing life. And that's ultimately what happens with the relationship with the divine, in my own experience.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story with us. I love the parallels in our existence. My husband and I were teaching congruity to counterintelligence agents when we were in teaching at the counterintelligence special agent course. And so, the parallels are, it's, slowly seeping into all the kind of genres in the world. So I love that. Well, let's remind people once more where they can go to find out more about you.
Please come to my website, Clayton John, John, Ainger, AINGER.com. Right at the top of my website is a place where you can join my community. Come and join us, play and have some fun. I have free meditations that are available for people on my website. There's a newsletter that comes out on a regular basis for people to learn more about themselves as well as the work that I'm doing. And people can follow me on Twitter, Clayton J. Ainger. And those are the 2 main places I would recommend right now. And you can follow me on Facebook as well, but primarily my website and Twitter are the 2 important ones right now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us and for having the courage to step into that embodiment and congruity experience. I certainly, kind of take my hat off to you, and I honor your journey to get there. So thank you for sharing that with our listeners today.
Thank you for having me, Tonya. I absolutely love being here. It was really great fun. So thank you for indulging my stories and having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing them. And to all of you out there, as always, we appreciate your loyalty. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, go out, uncover your superpowers, and change the world. Take care, everyone.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and discover your superpowers today.